Trey.
Final hour on this Tuesday. We're action-packed. Drew Bledsoe is warming up in the bullpen. He's here in the man cave. He was driving down from Boston to fly out of JFK. He's with his son. They're looking at colleges and thought he would drive by the man cave. So Drew's going to join us in a moment. He's warming up with McLovin. And the bet is, Paulie's saying he's putting a 20. If Drew can put a dent in the wall, he's trying to put a dent in McLovin's forehead as we speak. Yes, Steve.
Is it a dent or a hole? And what's the difference?
Dan, I think that's going to be up to you.
I think you said hole, Paulie.
I think
he could put a dent in there.
I think Drew's going to make the wall look different than when he got here.
Why? I think so, too.
You
Well,
judge.
then I'm going to take my bet back.
If it's a hole in the wall, Paulie, can Drew put a hole in the wall? Now, Paulie's at. No, you can't ask Drew if he can put a hole in the wall.
What's that?
He looks good. He's ready to go.
Yeah, let's rock.
He's getting loose after the first segment.
Okay. You don't. Are you
Ask
ready?
him.
Okay. Do you think that you can put a hole in the wall, Drew, by throwing it from 15 yards out?
It depends on if I can hit, the spot in between the studs. I mean, so we got to go find a.
We got to get a stud finder.
Got to get
there.
a stud finder and give me something to aim at.
All right.
If we can find a spot in between there, we can do
Got
that.
4 studs over here, Dan.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Nice try. He threw for over 44,000 yards, 251 touchdowns. He's Drew Bledsoe, former NFL quarterback, and doing a little drive-by here. This is awesome.
It's planes, trains, and automobiles. We're stuck in the storm up in Boston. My son and I were up there looking at schools. Couldn't get out of Boston. Turns out we could get out of JFK, so figured we'd stop by and say hi.
Not going to stay for the parade in Boston?
No, we'll miss it. We'll miss the parade. I'll watch it on TV.
Are you a Patriot fan?
I am. It took a while. It took quite a while to get to that point. When somebody takes your job and some young punk comes in and won't give you your job back, there's some bitterness, for a while. But the Kraft family, just wonderful people and great friends, and Tommy's been a great friend through the whole time, and the fans are really good to me up there still. So yeah, I'm a Patriots fan.
When did you know Brady was good?
Oh, I'm still not convinced. No, Tommy, he was a guy when he came in. I knew he was going to be around for a long time. I didn't think that he was going to be a starter or 6-time NFL guy and Super Bowl guy or any of that stuff. But I knew he was going to last a long time because he had that attitude. He was really positive attitude, really hardworking guy. He was right in my hip pocket all the time, trying to learn. So I figured he'd be like a 10, 11-year backup. That's kind of what I figured he would be.
But you just signed the $100 million contract. The last
Right.
thing you're thinking is this 6th-round pick out of Michigan is going to take your job.
No, that was the last thing on my mind. And, I was an open book, for him at that point. Turns out maybe I should have held some stuff back a little bit. But, no, he's a wonderful guy. And when you talk about his legacy and what he's done there, to me, it's more about the attitude, the work ethic, and the leadership than it is really about what he does on the field. The game the other day, there weren't a bunch of, mind-blowing throws. It was mostly stuff that was close to the line of scrimmage, and there were even one particularly poor throw, but in terms of his legacy, it's far more about what he's supplied in terms of leadership to that organization than it is about what he's done on the field.
What do you think the game plan was for New England going in against that Seattle defense?
You look at it, and it was funny, so they're going to the game. I've been around Belichick enough, and I've been around Brady enough. These guys don't relax unless they have something they can hang their hat on, right? And for Belichick to call off the walkthrough before the game, they're like, oh, well, they've got something that they believe in. And it turns out they're just going to throw it short. They're just going to take it, throw it out in the flat, around the line of scrimmage, and make the Seahawks tackle over and over again. That became their running game, particularly early on. They're just going to throw it short and make them tackle. And that's what they were. And I don't know if there was a plan B. I don't know if there was another plan if that failed, but that's what they were going to hang their hat on.
And Belichick's mind offensively, because we know what he's like defensively. How is he as an offensive-minded guy?
The thing that he does that has allowed them to continue to be successful is he's kind of the clarifying factor. But what I mean by that is, your game planning, and when I was there, your game planning, if there's something that you really feel like you can attack or a place you have an advantage, then he will clarify it and say, okay, well, just do that. And it's just that simple, and so you watch what they do week in and week out. Sometimes that means you're going to hand it off to LeGarrette Blount and just batter people, and then the next week, it's going to be, well, you know what, we're going to come out, and the game the other night was a prime example. We're just going to come out and throw it short. We're just going to do that. It's just that simple. And then they'll continue to do that until you change, and then they'll adapt. But as a head coach, that's really what he does. Though he clarifies it for his guys and says, don't outthink this thing. Just do this.
He's Drew Bledsoe joining us in the Man Cave here on the Dan Patrick Show. The end of the game, the play itself. We know the end result, but just the play itself against what New England had defensively and what Seattle was trying to do. Where do you stand?
Well, I mean, shoot, we can armchair quarterback it to death, right? And would Pete change the call if he could redo it? I don't know if he's made that comment, but I think obviously would in hindsight maybe would change it. But I think the what we're talking about though should be a little bit different. It should be about the play this kid made. I mean, that's a remarkable play that he made to come over the top of what's really a pick play, come over the top of that. Even to just get there and break up the pass would have been an amazing play by this kid, but to actually intercept the football, I mean, I'm telling you right now, practice otherwise, you're not going to see guys make that play. I mean, 1 out of 100, 1 out of 200, 1 out of 1,000. I don't know. I mean, it just really was a remarkable play, and I think that's really what should be more the dialogue is an amazing play by a young kid.
We were talking about this. If Seattle went to the line of scrimmage thinking Belichick was just going to see how Seattle lined up and then use one of his timeouts, and then he didn't, did that affect Seattle? Could you see that as a possible scenario?
Yeah, I could see that as a scenario, and you would think that once they lined up, but New England must have liked what they had on the field. In terms of a defense, for that formation.
6 linemen.
Yeah. So I'm sure that the Patriots were assuming that it was going to be a run, and that's probably why the Seahawks liked their play because they, the cat and mouse game that you play, unfortunately for the Seahawks, fortunately for the Patriots, just an amazing play by a young kid.
Is Brady the best quarterback of all time?
Oh, I don't know. I've always stayed away from ranking these guys, mostly because a lot of them are my buddies. But he's obviously going to be in the conversation with anybody you talk to. And the other guys that are on that list, I don't think Tommy would be insulted just being included in that conversation.
Okay, but if you were going to put somebody ahead of him,
well, what are we talking? Are we talking? Going into this next season, who do I want? Or total body of work?
Total body work. Who's greatest quarterback of all time?
I'm not going to tell you the greatest. I'll tell you who's in the conversation and why.
All right.
Okay. Peyton, obviously, in the conversation, no matter what. And he deserves to be, way up there because of what happened to the Colts after he left. And then because of what he supplied with the Broncos, all of a sudden, the Broncos are there. And so he, in terms of making a difference to the organization he's with, Peyton, really way up there. Elway, Elway did it all those years, and he did not have a lot around him.
Yeah.
I don't think he didn't have a Pro Bowl receiver until Rod Smith, I think.
I don't think he ever had. I don't know if he ever had one.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't think he had a Pro Bowl player on the offense except for maybe Gary Zimmerman, the offensive lineman.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so in Elway to do what he did without a lot around him, really, really remarkable. So there's a couple guys that I would put into that conversation at the top of the list.
But not Montana.
No, Joe actually, he's going to be in any conversation also. But there's a system in place there, right? Now, that's not to diminish anything that Joe Montana did or Steve Young did or, in that system. But that system, Elway had to do this thing kind of on his own, right? Peyton kind of becomes the system when he comes in. With that West Coast system, it really is designed for the quarterback to be successful. So those guys, while they're in the conversation, to me personally, it's just a little bit more unique what Elway and Peyton have been able to do.
Well, Brady's in a system too.
Brady is in a system, and he's been able to be in a system that has been kind of the same for his whole career, which is a great luxury. But within that, and again, I want to go back and reiterate what I said earlier. His legacy is more about leadership and desire and coaching his own players up. Even more than it is about what he's accomplished on the field. He's really been such an integral part in that organization and what they've been.
Ross Tucker, who played for the Patriots for a little while, said he went out drinking with Brady, and he said he's the best he's ever seen all time chugging beer.
Yeah, he could. I remember that. I don't think he even drinks anymore, man. I can't get the guy to buy any wine. As a matter of fact, I gave him a bottle. He still hasn't paid for it. I'm gonna have to go to Giselle and get her to step up and actually pay me the money for the wine. But yeah, back in the day, yeah, he could drink fast. It was impressive. Yeah, he was one of those guys. I'm not sure it's a talent you want to hang your hat on, but yeah, he could go through them fast.
What's your wine label?
Wine's Doubleback, and actually, this is cool, man. We're actually launching the 2012 vintage today. It's our 6th vintage, so it's going good.
Is there a website?
Yeah, it's doubleback.com. Yeah, thanks for the plug.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be like you, right? I'm trying to go through my whole life and never ever work. Right? And so you get to come to your playground. I get to go play in the vineyard and drink some wine.
I've been accused of not working very hard, but this is fun in here. We have the golf simulator. We got the basketball hoop. We got a full bar in there. Got beer on tap.
No, I like your little playground. This works very well.
Send some of your wine. We'll put it on display in here.
There you go. Yeah, well, I see you got the Wazoo Coug helmet over here. I appreciate that.
Whose that is?
Whose is that?
Guess.
Is it Leafs?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. He's watching right now.
I actually tried to reach out to him just a few weeks ago. Now that he's out, man.
Paulie just heard from him 2 days ago.
Oh, did he really? I'm cheering for that guy so hard. He's been through so much, and I just would love to see him rise again.
Yeah, he's been a friend of the show, and he got out of jail, and he texted Paulie, and
nice.
So Paulie's been in touch with him. All right, we'll come back. During the break, we're going to see if Drew Bledsoe can put a hole in the wall here of our man cave. You got enough throws?
Yeah, I'm loose.
Okay. You're good. All right, we'll come back with Drew. Okay, strongest arm you've ever been around.
Strongest arm I've ever been around. Geez, I mean, Elway, even when he was older, could sling it. There were a couple of guys whose names aren't household names that could really throw it. There was a guy, Michael Bishop.
Yeah,
he went to Kansas State and came in, and man, the guy could throw it really hard. Now, never real sure where it was going, but he could throw it really hard. Oh, who else?
Could you throw? What do you throw? 75?
Yeah, I was always kind of right in there. Favre was just a freak of nature when he, and he's another guy that has to be on that very short list, very, very short list, obviously. But we'd go to the quarterback challenge every year, and we'd always have the long ball throw. I think I finished second in that thing every year. So it was Vinny by 1 yard, Vinny Testaverde by 1 yard 1 year. And then the other years, I'd finish second to Favre by like 1 or 2 yards.
I thought Randall Cunningham had one of the great arms.
Yeah, he did.
And Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah. No, oh yeah, Randall could sling it, man. You know who was maybe the most impressive though, because he was a little bit older when he was down there, was Warren Moon.
Oh.
Warren was, he was older than all of us, and man, the guy could spin it. And the thing that he did that was so unique, his ball never wiggled. He had the tightest spiral of anybody I ever saw throw a football. Warren Moon, he was something else.
I think he threw the best deep ball in NFL history.
I would agree with you. That ball his ball was the one that Steve Sable was always talking about, was flying in slow motion in the air, because it was.
He's Drew Bledsoe, a former Patriots quarterback, joining us. His Twitter handle is @DrewBledsoe. The footballs, quarterbacks talking about Tom Brady and the footballs, Deflategate here. What was surprising, before I get your opinion, is it seems like you're all part of a fraternity, and that we would have kept all the secrets in-house because everybody is accused or guilty of doing this. That's what surprised me when you had Mark Brunell and Troy Aikman, who went after Tom Brady. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it is a bit of a fraternity, and the way I've always approached it, and it's kind of a more of a life thing than a football thing, is that man, if you're going to accuse somebody of something, you got to have all the facts first, and that's the part that was kind of disappointing to me. Was look, if we're gonna say that the guy's cheating and then consequently lying about it, let's have all the facts first, and let's really understand what we're talking about here before we go out there and If I was in a situation, like that where somebody was asking, my opinion, certainly publicly, I'm going to know all the facts before I make any accusation.
Should the quarterback be able to kind of not doctor the ball, but be able to get the ball to his liking?
Yeah, we always did, man. I was, 14 years I did this, right? And so every Saturday we would sit down with the equipment guys and we'd just go through the footballs and I'd grab them and like, oh, that one feels good. I don't like that one. That one feels good. And in 14 years, I never knew what the PSI of a football was. Not a single time. I may have played with over or underinflated footballs my entire career. I just don't know.
Did you ever say, I need one that's, well, you wanted it a little bit harder. You wanted more
usually,
air.
usually a little more air, I think, but I just don't, I don't know. Maybe they were all at 11.5 and I wanted them up to 12.5. I just don't really know what that was. But yeah, I liked a little more air pressure. I've got big hands, so I can, like Aaron Rodgers was saying the other day, a little higher grip pressure.
Do you think that Tom was aware of the balls being deflated?
No. Unequivocally, no.
Would you know? But if you pick it up, you picked up the ball over there and you went, put a little bit more air in there.
Yeah, no, I picked it up, and that one was probably you. I picked it up. My best guess is that was probably like 8 or 9 pounds. It was really underinflated. Matter of fact, when we were throwing it there, that it was still underinflated. So I mean, you can tell if it's significantly light, but again, I did Tom know? Was there a conspiracy? No. I mean, now, if it comes out and there's proof that then I'm willing to be wrong, but I'll be wrong going to my grave, standing up for my guy.
Before I let you go, just the position of quarterback that we've had so many different reincarnations of this is the way, this is the future of the quarterback and the read option and all those things. And then that sort of went by the wayside. It still comes back to, can you throw the football when you need to throw the football into a tight spot, probably from the pocket? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, from the time that I came into the league back in 1993, the pocket passer has been a dinosaur, right? Well, the dinosaur just won another Super Bowl, right? So, but you see these guys that come in that are athletic and can run around. It still comes down to, can you deliver the ball on time accurately? Russell Wilson is a guy that can really do that. He can deliver the ball on time with accuracy from the pocket, and then he also has the ability, to go run around a little bit. So the pocket passer's not dead, not dead yet. But these guys, the guy that kind of breaks the two guys that break the mold now a little bit, Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers. Those guys both are amazing operating from the pocket, but also, man, they can. When Andrew Luck pulls it down and runs, man, he's fast.
Yeah.
He's fast and he's big and powerful. And Aaron Rodgers, I think he's the most unique guy playing the game right now because of what he can do when he's on the move throwing the ball. He can throw the ball better than anybody else in the league with no feet on the ground. He's running one way and spins it back the other way. It's really pretty unique and fun to watch.
He's got a Greg Maddux quality of Maddux was able to deliver the ball in a variety of angles with movement on it. And it seems like Aaron Rodgers is it's either over the top, it could be down to the side, touch on it, throw deep, throw hard.
Comes out so quick, and he's moving one way, sees something. He doesn't have to set his feet, and he can just absolutely spin it.
If you'd like to try one more spin over there, Drew, during the commercial break, you can. But before you leave, you got to sign the wall here in the man cave.
I will do that for sure. And we'll go put some more air in that football and see if we can put a hole in the wall.
All right. He's Drew Bledsoe, former Patriots quarterback. Safe travels to JFK, and good to see your son.